Alongside the spike of video game popularity over the past 10 to 15 years, there has been a consistent output of research trying to make a connection between mental health in teenagers and video games. Mental health comes into question because it's been popularized that teenage mental health is on the decline. And 7% of children who have mental health problems that are diagnosable don't get the help that they effectively need. So they have to be trying to solve this problem using some other things than official professional help. This brings in coping. Coping occurs in response to psychological stress, usually triggered by changes in an effort to maintain mental health and emotional well-being, which is a definition provided by UCLA. And so coping, they will have to use coping in order to try to keep themselves stable and okay. Now, video games are played a lot by teenagers, and 59% of them play video games. So it is assumable that there is an overlap of people that play video games and people who are attempting to use video games as a sort of stress release or coping mechanism. Which brings up the question, are coping mechanisms, are video games a consistent enough positive influence to be used as a coping mechanism for teenagers? And the answer, which will be proved, is no. Now, gamers play video games for one of two main reasons. The first being they feel more trusted. The game gives them a task of saving the world or saving a certain group of people, and they are not questioned of their ability, they are just set to go do it. And that makes them feel better because they feel like they're worth it because it doesn't even ask. And so them feeling better about themselves, they're constantly achieving things and being told that what they're doing is good. So the video game approves what they're doing as good enough. So, but these two things put together, being relied on as a coping mechanism, puts up a wall. They're hiding behind a persona of somebody they're not really. And this world is only online, so when they continually look to video games as this source of release, every time they go out and see the real world, they'll be even more disappointed every single time. So, in conclusion, these video games are not going to be enough. The people create revolutions, not the technologies they use, which is an underlying theme in Kessler's article of even though there are good things about technologies, they're not enough if you don't bring what's being brought up out into the real world. So even though video games do provide good things, there won't be any real changes unless these are brought into the real world and professional help is sought for. Now, professional help, like getting a therapist, has its clear limitations like a budget and scheduling because there's not always enough time or money, but there's also still a social stigma around going to see therapists. But alongside of that, even though there are limitations to it, a video game cannot be the replacer of going to see a therapist. And here's my works cited and my images now.
Okay, a couple of questions for you, Alyssa. The first one is, how did you select the strategies you used to gather information or conduct research, and were they effective?
I attempted to use just the Media Center provided, and that didn't work as well as I hoped because a lot of them, when you search about video games, is specifically are they good for teenagers or like the effect that they have on like violence. So I had to search more of things that have to do with like the positive things and then coping mechanisms specifically and then make my own connection. So it didn't completely go as I wanted it to, but it helped.
And then do you feel like your strategies you used were effective?
Yes, I think that like with more time it would have been easier to like make a stronger connection, but they worked enough.
Okay, and then your second question would be, What additional questions emerged from your research, and why are these questions important?
When I started researching, I found that like a lot of them study or focus mainly on the like confidence that kids have and not necessarily their mental health incomplete. So it brought up like how much does it really affect their mental health in general instead of just does it make them feel better over a short term.